Good afternoon. Today is the 5th of April and the new set of society and motor manufacturers and traders figures for the previous month's new car registrations have just been published. And so we're going to look at the top 10 best-selling cars of March 2022. It's always a very, very special month for new car registrations in this country, because in this case the 2022 plate has just come out, and you see cars with the V22 in the middle of a registration number coming out, and you know that they're brand new. And traditionally some of the strongest sales either happen in this country in March or September, because those are the 2 months that the plates actually change. I think we're going to see a few surprises here. One of the things I've seen straight away is that we are still in a decline. And if you look at the figures from March 2020 and March 2021, we're actually not even anywhere clear of those at all. We're actually, I think, even below 2020. We're certainly below 2021. I think we're even below 2020, and that wasn't even a full month in March. It was, there was restrictions coming in, and by 23rd of March it was all over. So we still haven't recovered from the effects of what's been going on over the last couple of years. And of course, with the limited supply of new cars and high second-hand car prices and the sort of global chip shortage, a lot of it isn't looking too great. However, there are some amazing figures from certain manufacturers which I think will surprise some of you. Certainly they've surprised me. And the unstoppable rise of electrification in the new car sales is definitely something to take note of. We can't get away from it, whether you like electric cars or you don't. I'm, to be honest, fairly neutral about them. I like some things about them. There's some things I find a bit frustrating. I've tested them extensively. So I'm pretty neutral. You either want one or you don't, or maybe you don't want a new car at all. And I think most of my viewers are sort of with me in that, at least if you want a new one, you want to wait till prices soften or there's better supply or something like that. But nevertheless, let's take a look at these figures from last month. That's quite enough of the preambulation. For registrations, I'm going to just call them sales, because it's a bit easier for me to sort of think about them in those terms, even if it's strictly registrations. Because if I go into a dealer today and I order a new car, that car probably won't arrive for a little while, and it won't be registered for a while. So this isn't actually tracking orders that come in from dealers. This is tracking the date of registration. So just bear that in mind. The thing we'll see most of all, of course, is a steady decline in forbidden fuel, which we don't talk about diesels on this channel. And March 2022 is no exception. Compared with March 2021, there's been a 55% decrease. The market share last year at the same month was 11%. It's now 5.6. Last year in March, about 31,000 of them was sold. Last month it's about 14,000. Petrol's also down, purely petrol powered cars with no electrification. Last March, market share was 48%. It's now 42%. The percentage change is about 26, down. 138,000 cars with petrol engines and no electrification were sold last March. Last month it's about 102,000. The mild hybrid forbidden fuel cars, which used to make up a huge proportion of them, and when manufacturers were still trying to find an easy way to keep selling them to certain people, and to certain people they do actually make sense. I'm not going to deny that they certainly do for certain people, but that number is decreasing. The old versions of the Kia Sportage and Hyundai Tucson and certain Audis and Volkswagens, for example, are mild hybrid bid and fuel. Last March, it was 8.2% of the market, it's now 4.8%. Percentage change is actually about 50. It's gone from 23,000 to about 12,000. Mild hybrid petrol, that's most of Suzuki's range, for example, certain Volkswagens and lots of others, Fords as well. That's actually seen an increase of about 4%. The market share last year, for March, was about 11%. It's now 13%. Number of cars sold has gone from about 31,000 to about 33,000. So a small but significant increase. Battery electric vehicles, this is things like, MG ZS EV, all the Teslas, some of the Audi e-trons, although the e-tron itself is a very confusing name because that doesn't necessarily mean historically that it's purely electric, but it does now. So, but anything that's just purely electric is classed as a battery electric vehicle on these figures. Market share has gone from 7.7% last March to 16% last month. That's a 79% increase. 79%. The number of cars has gone from 22,000 to 39,000. Extraordinary. Absolutely extraordinary. Plug-in hybrids, even though there's no incentive anymore on these from the government, and there's no incentive on many electric cars now at all, nevertheless the sales are still increasing. The plug-in hybrids have gone from 6.1% in the market to 6.6% in the market. Now, percentage change is actually down a little bit because the overall market is down. We'll see how much in a moment. So it's a 7.5% decrease in the number of sales, but the market share has increased. So it's gone from about 17,000 to about 16,000. So not a massive change really, and market share overall has increased. Hybrids, this is the full hybrid we're talking about. So things like the new Suzuki Vitara that's come out. There's actually a mild hybrid and a full hybrid version of those with different engines. Biggest example, of course, is most of Toyota's range. The vast majority are full hybrids. This has gone from 7.6% last year to 11.4%. Percentage change is about 28% up. No surprise there. There's going to be a time relatively soon when there'll be more plug-in hybrids and full hybrids sold than petrol cars. It's getting there. If you have the mild hybrid ones as well, it's getting quite close to that now. So about 22,000 was sold last March. Last month, about 28,000. The overall market is down though by about 14%, which you sort of think, how can that possibly be? How can that be? Well, the dealerships only really kind of opened, mid-March 2021. So it must be the supply issues that must be causing things, because we're not in lockdown or anything like that, although of course lots of people are unfortunately still suffering from things. I had the virus last autumn and didn't enjoy it, and I suspect none of you have enjoyed having it either. It's not good. Anyway, let's talk about the private fleet and business breakdown of the market. Last March, 48% of cars sold were private. It's now changed to 56%. The change is about 8%, an increase, which is, I don't know if that's good or bad particularly, just the way that it is. In 2021, in March, it was about 127,000 cars sold to private customers. Last month, it's about 137,000. Fleet segment is really down. It's about 34%. I assume it's because the fleet customers can't replace the cars they've had on these contracts, and so they're having to hold on to them longer, and so the number of registrations or sales is down. I just assume it's that. Market share was 35% last March. Last month it was about 41%. but the percentage change overall is interesting. It's about 34% down. So last March, 151,000 cars were sold to fleets, and last month it was 99,000. So very significant change. Business for some reason has increased, although business is a really small percentage of the market. For example, last March it was about 6,000 cars. It's now gone up to 7,000, but about a 20% increase. Market share though is between sort of 2.4 and now 2.8%, so not very significant. Right, we'll just take a break here, and I'll get up the chart for the top 10 best-selling cars, because that's a reason maybe you clicked on this video. As I always say with the top 10 bestsellers, there is a bit of a difference between every other brand of car and Tesla. Tesla don't have dealerships in the same way. So if I go into my local Tesla dealership or sales centre, they would call it, because they're not franchised in the same way others are. If I order a Model Y right now for it to come, the dealer that I'm at or sales centre I'm at won't register that. Tesla UK, when a boatload of those cars arrive in, they'll register them all together. The actual UK importer will do it, and not the dealership. Everyone else, if I go to the local Vauxhall dealerships, it's in a place called Chandler's Ford. If I go there, so it's called Picador, I think. Still, if I go to Picador and order a new Corsa, then that car will be registered by Picador, not Vauxhall themselves. So when the cars actually come in from the manufacturing Tesla, I think it's still mainly in America now, they come in these batches every few months, and so you get the figures completely skewed from everyone else's traditional method of registering them. So we start off with the Tesla Model Y and Model 3. Those are the top two sellers for March 2022. Bear in mind last year that actually the Tesla Model 3 was the second best-selling car of all. Not the second best-selling electric car, the second best-selling car. Very close in figures with Model Y. It's about a new model. I think this is probably the first batch of Model Ys that's come in. So 6,464. Model 3, 6,457. And then third is the Corsa. The Corsa is the top selling car in this country at the moment. 5,515 in third place. The Nissan Qashqai, 5,401. Hyundai Tucson, again a strong seller over here in fifth position, 4,876. Then the Ford Puma, again Ford's best-selling car in this country for quite a while now actually, 4,755 in sixth position. Then the Kia Sportage, it was a top-selling car of all in January, 4,563. Then the Ford Kuga in eighth position, 4,223. Then the Toyota CHR, that's very unusual. I've never seen the CHR in the top 10 actually. Ninth position, 3,910. And then the Fiesta all the way down on number 10. It's the first time I've actually seen it in the top 10 for probably about a year. So 10th position, 3,890. I will put those figures into a table just so you can have a look at them now. Now we come to my favourite part of the video. We look at actually how each manufacturer has done in a given month, and we look at the comparison in market share and sales. So we start with Abarth. Abarth are always at the top of the list because this is alphabetical order. Abarth, not a big selling mark in this country. They've only got variations on the 595 and 695s now. The 124 Spider is long gone. I'm actually happy to have a go in an Abarth version of it. I think it's a 595 or 695 actually, which should be fun. Let's have a go at one of those soon. So percentage change is minus 50%. Bear in mind that overall the market's down 14%, so 50% is quite significant. And Abarth's share has gone from 0.15 to 0.09. Last March, 415 cars sold. Last month, 207. Alfa Romeo, again a member of the Stellantis group. The change has actually been a positive one for them, but it only means a market share increase from 0.07 to 0.1 and 202 cars to 246. The percentage change of that is about 22%. Alpine, again, a very small brand in this country. I gather those cars are quite interesting. I'd like to have a go in one at some point. 24% increase though. Market share has gone from 0.01 to 0.02. Number of cars sold has gone from 37 to 46. Audi, a very, very big selling brand in this country. One of the top ones actually. Always vying for market share with Mercedes and BMW. Not really luxury brands because they sell so many cars. So that's my sort of argument. When you considerably outsell people like Renault and Peugeot, how can you justify being called a luxury brand other than in people's minds? So anyway, they haven't done particularly well though. Percentage change is down 20%. Market share has gone from 6.73 to 6.29. It's not a big drop because of the overall market being down, but nevertheless significant. 2021, they actually sold 19,000 cars. Now they've only sold 15,000. Bentley has increased their market share from 0.07 to 0.1. So that's a 31% increase. They've gone from 189 to 247. BMW haven't done quite as well as Audi. BMW, sometimes they're the second best-selling make in the country actually now. But a 29% decrease. Market share has gone from 7.4 to 6.1. They sold 21,000 cars last March. Last month, 15,000. Citroën, another Stellantis brand, 31% decrease. Market share has gone from 2% to 2.1 really to 1.7. 6,000 cars to 4,000. Cupra, big increase actually for Cupra for some reason. I'm not sure why. Maybe they've got new variations or new models coming out. I know the L-Born is due soon. Or rather just the Born. It was called the L-Born originally. 60% increase. Still quite small figures, but that's very good nevertheless. 0.22% to 0.42 and 600 to 1,000. Dacia, a good month for Dacia, although they are way behind somebody like MG, which is strange actually. 45% increase. 0.76% of the market to 1.3 and 2,000 cars to 3,000 cars, which is very good. DS, who I always sort of think, most people don't even know that they exist, so it's always a bit of a problem for them. Another Stellantis brand, but they've had a good month. 31% increase. Was 0.08% of the market, now it's 0.13 and 233 to 305. That's not bad. Fiat, although relatively small actually in this country, or in Italy, huge, but not so big in this country. They haven't really had an all-new model since the 500 electric came out, and everything else is things like facelifting the Tipo. I really want to have a go in a Tipo, actually, the new facelifted one, because I wasn't too impressed with the pre-facelift one, but there's a new one out, so maybe that would be better. So gone from 0.84% of the market last March to 1.66. 2,400 cars sold to 4,000, so that's very, very good. Ford actually reclaiming their position this time as the top selling brand for last month. They've actually done it, which is amazing if you know what Ford's recent history has been like. Still, it's a minus 20% decrease, 7.83% of the market to 7.32, 22,000 cars to 18,000. Genesis, we can't actually compare because there were no cars sold last March. Honda, above the general market decrease, but nevertheless still a decrease of about 8%. 1.08% of the market to 1.15, but that's still a decrease in sales from 3,000 to 2,800. Hyundai, a very big seller in this country now, just shy of 11,000 cars sold, up from 9,000 last March, and 21% increase 3.19% of the market to 4.52. Jaguar, not very good, unfortunately. Same with Land Rover, we'll get to that in a minute. 41% decrease, 1.37% of the market to 0.95. 3,900 cars sold last March to 2,300. Jeep, another Stellantis brand. Not all Stellantis brands are doing sort of badly, by the way, but some of them are. Jeep, I don't know when they've had a new model come out. Actually, maybe it's just the plug-in hybrids of certain cars, the ones that were last released. 0.2% of the market to 0.13, 44% decrease from 600 cars to 300. Kia, how close was it to Ford? 1,400, 140, no, 14, 1-4, 14 cars fewer sold than Ford. That's how close Kia are in our market now to claiming the top spot. Kia cars are very good. Some of the signs are a bit controversial, but they have very good engineering, very reliable engineering. 7-year warranty, of course, on those, 100,000 miles. And they're doing really well. I don't like the design of some of their cars particularly. Not so keen on the styling of a new Sportage, for example, but some of the stuff like the Rio, Ceed, Stonic, not necessarily the most exciting cars, but they appeal to somebody like me, just who like sort of common rational sense. And they're being rewarded for it over here. 59% increase, 3.95% of the market's gone to 7.32. Extraordinary. 11,000 cars to 18,000. Absolutely crazy. Land Rover, on the other hand, minus 54%. 5.3% of the market to 2.8, and 15,000 cars right down to 7,000. Lexus, not necessarily that bad, but still below the current trend. 23% increase, 0.91 to 0.81. 2,500 cars to 2,000. Maserati, actually an increase. So Stellantis branded on the increase, that's good. But it's only 95 cars to 105, and 0.03 to 0.04, and 10.5% increase. Mazda, a brand that I very much like. 15% decrease, 1.43 to 1.42, but 4,000 cars to 3,500, so not so good. Mercedes-Benz, very, very close to Audi and BMW. There's always a three-way tie between those three. 30% decrease approximately, 7.5% of the market last March. Last month, 6.2. 21,000 cars to 15,000. MG. Unsurprisingly, if you know anything about the recent history of MG, you'll know that they're doing quite well. 137% increase. 1.4% of the market to 3.85. They're nipping on the heels of someone like Peugeot. They've decimated, Dacia, Renault, Citroën, Seat, Skoda. All those just completely decimated them. Madness. People just love them. I wouldn't say they're the best cars I've ever driven, but they're very, very, very competitive for what you get. I've driven lots and lots of them. We used to own an MG3. Yeah, they're not the best, but they have a 7-year warranty, and that's what seems to be what people want, and they're some of the most affordable ways into an electric car. So there we go. 4,000 cars sold last March. Now it's 9,400. Crazy. Mini minus 32%, 2.66 to 2.1% of the market. 7,500 to 5,000. Mitsubishi we can skip because they don't sell cars anymore over here. Nissan, very similar figures to the next one, which is Peugeot, and similar to MG as well, I suppose, in a way. 28% decrease though. They were at 5% of the market, they're now at 4.2. 14,000 to 10,000. Peugeot, 9.5% decrease. Was 3.8% of the market, now 4%, because they're actually slightly above the general market trend, which is good. They're selling a lot of cars at the moment, Peugeot actually. 10,800 down to 9,800, but well within the tolerance. Polestar, they're sort of vying with MG for the biggest increase of the month, month on month, I think. So 136% increase, was 0.12% of the market, now 0.32, 335 to 789. Porsche, 42% increase, 0.64 to 1.06, 1800 to 2600. Maybe that's just due to the Taycan, I'm not sure. Renault, not too bad. It's above the general trends and everything else. They've gone down by 9% though, and 2% of the market actually gone to 2.16. 5,787 to 5,300. Seat and Skoda, not good. Not good at all. I wonder if they've lost themselves to someone like MG or something. Seat itself, 50% down, was 2.6% of the market, now 1.6. 7,500 to 3,800. Skoda, 39% down, 3.14% of the market to 2.24. 9,000 cars to 5,500. Smart, largely relevant because they're so small. But you know, we count SsangYong, so we might as well do Smart. 12% increase, 0.09% of the market to 0.12, and 264 to 296 last month, so little increase. SsangYong, again, not a massive seller in this country. Still a bit of a question mark over what's going to happen with the brand, unfortunately. But as an owner of a SsangYong, they're actually pretty good cars, to be honest. Just what anyone says. Not perfect, of course, but they're still pretty good. 36% increase, 0.06% to 0.1, 175 to 238. Subaru, very similar story to SsangYong. They're always kind of around the same sort of figures. Both very small brands in this country. Subaru minus 25%, 0.09 to 0.08, and 258 versus 193 last month. Suzuki, 24% increase, maybe due to the new S-Cross. We're not allowed to call it the SX4 S-Cross anymore. 24% increase, 1% to 1.5, 2,900 to 3,600, so very good. Toyota, actually outselling all the big German players, including Volkswagen. So very, very popular brand over here at the moment. 5-year warranty, which does help too. 5% decrease though, even so, and 6% in the market has gone up to 6.6 because of a general decrease. 17,000 to 16,000. Vauxhall, who, again, the last slanted brand on the list, they're not doing too badly. Still a 90% decrease though. The market share's gone from 5.59 to 5.29. 16,000 cars to about 13,000. Volkswagen, not the sort of enormous kind of dominating brand of it that it was at some points last year. It was still very popular though. 38% decrease, 8.35% of the market to 6. 24,000 down to 15,000. So quite a significant decrease actually. Volvo, 29% decrease approximately, actually 29%, close to 30 actually. 3.17 down to 2.6%. 9,000 cars sold down to 6,000. The next one is Tesla, but they always categorize it under other imports, which doesn't really help particularly. I don't know why they do this, but it's always the way with Teslas. There's other cars as well, but mostly Teslas. So 93% increase, was 2.4% of the market, now 5.4, and 6,800 cars up to 13,100. Shows you just how significant Tesla is in our market now, even if the categorization of it is quite interesting. I'm going to stop the video now again for a second and then just show you a table of the top manufacturers for the month, because it's very difficult for me to work this out in my head whilst I'm reading it. So there we go. That was the top 10 best-selling cars of March 2022. It's always interesting to see what sort of happens, and I'm pleased that certain kind of consumer trends, I think actually Kia deserve to be quite high up. I'm sad about some other brands being so low, and obviously the choice of cars in terms of fossil fuel is just diminishing away. And we know why that is. It's because of the forthcoming ban on the sale of purely combustion engine cars in 2030. We'll have to see how that plans out, I suppose. Apparently some plug-in hybrids will be available, but no one's actually sure which ones, which a bit frustrating for some people, I think. Anyway, thank you ever so much indeed once again for watching. This is a segment that very much is targeted at a very small but loyal audience. It's maybe not for everybody, but I find this stuff interesting, and so do they. So we will continue doing it. If you wish to subscribe to the channel, that'd be wonderful. It does really help, along with liking this video and leave a comment below. And there's actually a join button below this video as well if you wish to become a channel member. But please never feel under any obligation to do that. Thank you ever so much indeed once again.